All right, well, it's that time. Let's get this motor tore down. I did grind this because we're running the solid center mount. We don't want those things destroying our bushing. This only had 3 bolts holding it in. We're going to be removing this AC delete pulley. So right now I am getting ready to get the lower crank off. And then I'm going to set the timing to 0. Get this alternator off. Pull all these brackets, get them in a pile, and put them in the parts washer. We're going to double check our clutch. It looks like I will be putting the water pump on that I have. I'll clean this. I'll double check all these because look at this. That is terrible. So we might end up getting a tensioner and an idler also to throw on here. You can see more of the oil in there. Doesn't look like it's got anything going on down in the bottom. But we're going to get all this off here. We're going to get it cleaned up. And then get this thing painted. And install ourselves a set of timing covers. I'm going to re-zero out these gears. I don't know why this stuff's turned. People put them on, and then if they don't have the gear where it needs to be, they'll loosen these bolts and turn them instead of just putting the belt on correctly. You can see it does have it pushed out here. That's probably due to this. So I'm gonna get this pulled. This is the tool I use. Hopefully this works. And we can get this off here. I've bought a couple of these, various different brands. Sometimes you'll go through and you'll get like 6, 7 of them off, or 8 or 10, and then you'll hit one that is like, what the heck's holding this thing on here? And you'll break a tool, and then you'll get another one and it'll start to come off. So it's just how they are sometimes, but this is some kind of an aftermarket one. In my best judgment, I would not reinstall this. So let's get this thing pulled off of here. All right, I'm gonna let a little bit of that in there, but I was fighting to get it in. So it turned out being better just to take the pulley off of this insert here, I guess. Maybe they make a universal center, and just remove it from there so that we could get it pulled off of this thing. I use a spacer bolt and install that so it doesn't bottom out or bolt. Allows me to rotate the crank around. Sounds like we got some pretty good compression. Okay. Wow. What is the story here? I'll probably have to pull the valve cover off to inspect the location of the cams. But if you take a look, this one here is actually, that's what you want at the top. And if you look here, it's actually down 2 teeth over here. And then this one is completely upside down, but it's actually vertical, straight across like it should be. All right, well, I'm gonna pull this valve cover off. We'll see where that's at. See where our cams are, see if these were just installed incorrectly 100%, and go from there now. All right, so there's 2 holes in these cams. They need to be up. So we're actually upside down. So let's rotate this around, and everything looks pretty good. We've got, what are they? They look like they're BCs, I think. Yeah, BC springs and retainers. That's freaking weird. What are these people doing? Okay, so our back cam gear is still, what would you say, advanced to tooth here. This one here is pretty close. I think that's probably more in this being turned, but you can tell that they have this turned here, which is why that's down a tooth, which is why that's straight up. But I'm going to time this at 100% zero, and we're going to have this cam gear installed correctly, not upside down. It sure does make you wonder sometimes. All right, so I hit my timing belts with my gun before I undo my belt. Just get on here, loosen this. I should let this walk around. Oh, that's pretty tight. We're gonna go quarter drive, hit this, and make it move. Here we go. Oh, what the heck? I think that thing's locked in. Locked in. That should not be like that. There it goes. Okay, we can get our timing belt off just like that. Like I said, you can see lots and lots of cracks in this. This is why this is getting tossed. All right, now we gotta do is remove more parts off of this motor, including these cam gears. Let's get them real quick. All right, so we can see we have crawler 64476S, and then it has an E here for the exhaust, and then this will be intake with the same number. So I think it's crawler stage 3s or crawler stage 4s is what that number is off the top of my head. But I'm going to finish getting this off. We're going to remove this. We're going to remove this. This is this one. We're going to get these 4 bolts out that hold this water pump in because we have one to replace it. I'm going to pull the rest of these brackets off of here so that they're out of the way. We're going to get all these brackets into the parts washer, get all of those cleaned up. We're going to clean down this engine, and then everything down below the oil pan, and then I'm going to probably pull this pan off, inspect everything underneath, and get the pan itself clean in the parts washer, and just get it reassembled onto the engine and reseal everything. That way we know that we don't have anything to question on this. It looks like it's going to need a oil pressure sending unit. There might be some oil in there. I want to get a closer look at that. Might just be a little bit here on the end, and that way we can get the clutch off. We are getting another manifold, as I stated, so we're going to get that pulled too. All right, so we got all the bolts. That's everything we're going to be cleaning up. And then I finally was able to get this bolt broke loose. Here's our gasket. Looks like it might have been starting to leak on the bottom. But I ain't never heard nothing like this. Sounds like the spring inside there is broken. So we'll be pulling that apart and double checking that. I'm getting ready to pull the manifold off, but everything's off over here. This one isn't labeled as a stock pump, but this has a little Chrysler symbol there on that. But they're usually blue seals on them. Then I seen this one here, if you look, it's backed out. I'm curious to see what gasket is on here. I don't know, for some reason I just feel it's going to be the NA gasket, which isn't layered, but I could be wrong. Let's get it off. All right, last one. So I feel that there is a very good plus to this. Look, we were leaking across the bottom. This whole lower side was leaking. Look at that. And on top of that, this is the NA gasket. See, it's all burnt through. Burnt to pieces, bud. Man. Like, why can't people just... This, I guarantee if this was the stock style gasket, it wouldn't be bad. It'd still be good. Not sure what brand this is. One of those cheap eBay jobs, I'm sure. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna screw one nut on like this. Okay. I'll take this one, screw it on. These are two different sizes if I'm right. Yep. We're gonna take this, put them tight to each other. Okay. And then we're just gonna turn these studs out. Just like that. I gotta do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times now. Alright, let's get these out. Alright, we kinda did a roundy round to see how this thing looked before. Got the clutch torn off. I'm going to sand on these here a little bit, try to clean them up some. Here's our whole back side of our engine, everything down to the bottom. I'm going to have a heck of a mess here on the floor, but everything's rinsed down with some brake clean. We're going to get everything, let everything like rinse some, and then I'm going to worry about getting all of this mess cleaned up. We got all those parts that are going to need to go in the parts washer. A couple of those are going to need painted. Then we're going to get the chain on here, and we're going to pick this thing up and get the pan off. And that way we can get the pan resealed. And while the pan is off, I'm going to repaint the engine block itself and the lines. And this thing is just going to look like a new engine. Let's just hope it runs that way. All right. I'll see you when I get all of this mess cleaned up. All right, next day, nice and daylight out now. We got this stuff all cleaned up. The engine is actually ready for some paint. Started taping stuff up. Pulled the pan. Oil is pretty black, but I don't see anything too crazy. That stuff's actually in the pan right there. Has a balance chain shaft assembly. Stock rods. So everything is stock on the bottom side. Pickup looks pretty clean. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the parts washer. I've already got the oil cooler in there. We're going to get this stuff cleaned up. While I'm doing that, I'm going to pull this pan gasket off, just wipe everything down a little bit more, and blow some paint on here. So as soon as that is done drying, the pan will be ready to be installed. It'll be nice and clean and actually look like a pan. Be clean inside and looking a whole lot nicer. But anyway, here you go. Let's just give this thing a good look around. A little bit more here, like I said, to wipe down on the front. Up around this area, we'll get that a little cleaner. We got that, and then out here, started getting these painted. So it's gonna look pretty good. More to clean, more mess, and let's get this done. You can see the SRT on the back of the block, so it's actually the SRT engine. Wasn't one from a PT. Not that that makes any difference. They're both exactly the same, but that just means that it was equipped with the intake and everything on the front originally. So how I've replaced my rear main seal is I got a screw, run it in, right out. I'll come in here, I'll get all this stuff cleaned, wiped out, and then I'll take my new seal, and you want to coat it with either oil or some grease. I usually stick a little bit of grease, that way it's not starting up dry and burning out the seal right away. And then I'll work my way around with my little hammer, tap it in. 20%. Alright, so I'm putting the new camshaft in. So we got them broken loose, but I just kind of wanted to show, like, this is silicone here. None of this should be here. So at one time, someone did have everything sealed with silicone. I didn't really look too much at the valve cover, but it looks like that gasket's good. But you want to have it here on these ends. I have a video that specifically goes over that. We're going to reseal this. It does look like the valve cover gasket is going to be reusable. Now, in that second drawer down, that one, or no, maybe it was up. Sorry, that plastic hammer. Yeah, get that. Get this sucker tap. I got this all silicone together too. Okay. Some silicone. At least they didn't glob it. But I'm going to clean all this up down through here. Make sure none of these passages here are clogged, so that we can get flow out to these caps. Here, brass brush. Okay, check it out. Minimal scratching to your aluminum, which it looks like someone did already scrape this pretty good. It is a reconditioned head, so it's hard to say. But that takes all your silicone right off. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get all this done. I will put grease on these caps and get them slid on here, so that when we do start it up, they don't start to dry. All right, many hours later. Nice and clean, all the brackets are clean. I'm gonna be replacing these fittings here. Look at how nice that oil filter housing is. Everything's nice and clean. Timing belts on, inner and outer covers. Good to replace all the bolts. I did put the stock dampener back on. New water pump. All that stuff is pretty. And you know, we got a couple more things we got to do. I found some nice. I wanted to show you how they clamped onto the oil filter housing piece. So there it is. So we had a heck of a time getting this filter off. If you look, you can see where they clamped on it. There and there. It actually takes a 12 mil Allen head to break it loose and get that separated. But I found a nice tensioner, idler, and stuff. So there's the pile of junk so far. New rear mainsail. I did put the new cam seals in. Yeah, there's still a bunch to do. We're gonna slide this thing over. I got to repair. I'm gonna pick this extra bolts. These are for the front bracket. I'm gonna throw that on quick. I got to do a lot of repair to this harness and get the alternator on. I'm gonna dig out a heat shield for the alternator so it has one. That way, you know, the alternator doesn't go bad. I'm sure that's why that's replaced, because, well, they deleted the heat shield for an unknown reason. We are going to have to pull this apart. Hopefully that's picking that up. So we got an issue inside of the wastegate. Hopefully that's an easy fix, and I'll have a spare spring I can throw in there. But it's there, man. It is getting there. I will have to do some trimming, you know, when you install those clear covers, when you have the MPX gear, so it's not a direct fit. So we'll have to get to that then. And I'm gonna pull the plugs, double check all them. Still waiting on our exhaust manifold to get here. We did get a bolt kit with that, so that will ease the installation. It comes with all the locks for them from AGP along with the manifold. All right. There we go.